Callaghy sitting on the chair at his home in LBI. The only time he sits in this chair is during this huddle. But yesterday he broke that one. So it's cooking, man. And how are you?
Hey, Frando. Yes. And Frando, what was it like being out on the sandbar in mid to late October in the Jersey Shore? What were those waves like for you?
What I would say is that the waves were beautiful. And what I would say also about the Jersey Shore and Long Beach Island is that I have never, and this is factual, not hyperbole, I have never been in the ocean in LBI with more than like, 5 people around me, excluding the LBI immersion, because it's like crazy out there and it's cold and ridiculous and stormy. And Sean's always like, yeah, let's just like jump into the water and have some fun. But it was really interesting to swim about 50, yards in or so and have water up to below my knees. That was a rather interesting experience. So it was cool to experience that on a Sunday.
Well, great job. And I want to acknowledge, talk about zone action. So we're going to call yesterday with the team, and Fernando and Adam jumped in a car. And thank you, Nicole, for spending so much of your Sunday with us as well. Adam and Fernando were on a call. We're like, we need to just be in person together. So they jumped in a car, drove 2 hours and 1 hour, and spent the entire day down here, canceled all their plans. And get ready for this, guys. Adam Gagino missed his pickleball tournament for this movement, Unblinded the Ecosystem.
Ready? And Sean, I just want to add a layer of fun to that statement. As him and I were leaving, your beautiful home and about to get in our cars, he looks at me with like this face of puppy dog sadness. And he's like, blank and blank won the tournament. We always beat them. We would have won the gold. And he was so upset about it. So
well,
thank you, Adam, for skipping that for the movement.
That even makes it more, sir, brother, that you went out and missed that pickleball tournament. Adam would have been wearing gold, but much more importantly, he's influencing influencers to merge ecosystems, make the world an even greater place. So great job, Adam Gagino. So it is Ecosystem Merger and Mastery Monday. It is here. We are present. Big stuff come up this week. I want to acknowledge Michelle Echebarren and Sean Grossi for consistently desiring the birth of this process, as well as a number of you that have been contributing and supporting in that way, in that endeavor in a very big way, and that is happening tonight. And there's more than 200 people registered for a legal a webinar in the legal space that we only started to talk about or have any outward discussion about 5 or 6 days ago. And so very limited run, more than 200 people already ready to go for tonight. And I'm very confident that we will be into escalating numbers as we do these over time and bring Unblinded in a very profound and accelerated focused way to the legal world. So extremely excited about that. Again, Michelle, thank you. Looking forward to it for everybody on the team doing it. So Sunday wasn't sleepy. So we're getting ready for the webinar, building that out. We're building out the entire structure to discuss a little bit this week and certainly next Sunday for the coaching, training, unblinded partnership models that are out there. Just a lot happening, a lot happening. And of course, there was some ocean and there were some waves. With that, I want to say thank you to Dr. Vin for taking the trip down to LBI and concern for optimizing health, life, heart, including for me. And we had some good laughs and some fun as well. And Dr. Vin was in the ocean and the water. So it was just a wonderful weekend. It wasn't sleepy, it wasn't relaxing, and it wasn't partying. But it was absolutely being in zone action, focused on simple, fun, and magical micro distinctions and frictionlessness. So with that said, we have a straight up rock star warrior comes to mind. Heart-centered Hulk. I'm not sure if he's accepted that title yet. H squared. And it is the one and only Eric Balance that is coming up on the Huddle this morning. And Eric is launching forward massively, stepping into the ecosystem. I first met Eric in a Tony Robbins Business Mastery 2 in Amsterdam. And I have a lot of energy. And there are a few people that I encounter that I'm like, whoa, look at that energy. And Eric just has beautiful, heart-centered, and volcanic energy about him. And he is brilliant, and he is focused, and he is on it. So Eric, do we have you out there, sir?
I'm here, brother. How are you?
I'm doing great, brother. How are you?
I'm doing amazing. I just had an amazing workout and a priming right on the beach here in Tulum, and ready having
Yeah. So Eric, when we get you to Long Beach Island, New Jersey, and if it's like October, November, March, April,
I'm all in. I'm all in. It doesn't matter.
and so what would that look like for you? Like, give us a day in Eric's life in Tulum. Like, so you just like woke up priming. What does it look like? What does it feel like? What's happening?
So this is the beach behind me. I don't know if you can see it very well, but I basically, for me, it's most important. I wake up before the sun. I feel like the sun is the star that gives me the most energy. It always has, and I always wake up before it. I do a little bit of a workout, and the number one thing that I do is I wake up with the sun. And so as it's going up, I usually prime. I spend 25 minutes, 30 minutes meditating, and I just feel the grace of my creator, the grace of the universe coming to my heart, so that I can serve from that space and really continuously, whatever fear, whatever uncertainty, whatever things that I think that I need to control, I just surrender to it and allow myself to step into every opportunity. And I want to tell you something that's so fascinating today. You know how Tony always talks about stepping into that present moment, like you're there, like you're literally feeling it, like you're totally within it. And I knew I was coming on here today and excited to speak with you and everybody up Unblinded. And it's fascinating how at one point I was like, when you and I met, we felt this resonance with the energy in Amsterdam. And I just knew something in me knew in business mastery that there was going to be some sort of alignment. I didn't know how, but I knew that our what and our whys were so powerful, and we could combine that and bring some beautiful energy into the world. And look, today we're sitting here, and we're both having the sun on our face with a tremendous amount of energy around us. So I'm grateful.
Yeah, thank you for that, Eric. And I was thinking the same thing as you were sharing. I remember that moment. And I'm also very present for the sun as a huge part of my life. And I was downstairs this morning, working from early, and it was, on the lower levels of the house, the sun doesn't come through where I was. And so when I came up and the sun, we're in the room and there's just light everywhere, and the sun is just like pouring through, and just like being filled with its energy, that sense of certainty, acceleration, like it was an immediate state shift. I wasn't in the bad state, and I had done some things earlier, but it was like boom, and just like that feeling of possibility, energy, love, hope, resonance. It's such a beautiful, incredible thing. So I honor your love for the sun and what it does for you and where you live and your intentionality, Eric. So obviously we are all very familiar with the dynamics and the power and importance of why. And you are one of the most intentional beings that I've encountered, and so centered and driven by your why. So do you want to share a little bit about what that is for you and how you got here?
For sure. Thank you for that. One thing that I realized, and it's so fascinating. Again, it's fascinating, right? Like we get these distinctions, and we notice when I was at Business Mastery, I was this creative artist that knew I had this idea or this vision in my head, and I really was always thinking about the how, and I was so worried about everything that was supposed to come, but I just realized that I needed to really surrender and drop into that space of being intentional with my everyday rather than worrying so much about what's going to happen in 6 months or in 12 months, and just like being present to the current energy that I had. And I read something yesterday that really spoke to me really powerfully, and it says, the power of consciousness really brings energy is energy into action. And I found that the biggest strength that I always knew that I had was bringing tremendous energy into the people around me, and I am able to manifest tremendous amounts of Zeus and goddess energy, and combine that and bring that balance energy to life. No pun intended. Pun intended.
Yep.
And I realized, I was this lost entrepreneur that really had a vision, had a desire, had a hope, had a reason. And I wanted to say to myself, there's so many people out there that are so taking in so much of this knowledge, or this energy, but they're forgetting about implementing or taking action or executing.
Mm.
And for me, that was like the biggest thing that, almost clicked when Tony talks about, knowledge is potential power. Knowledge is, it's not power, it's potential power. It's so important for us to take that and implement it. And I realized that I needed to take some time to create systems and processes and procedures, because I wanted to be successful in my own vision of like serving other individuals. And when I thought about this, I was like, how many other people are out there doing the same thing? Like just taking in knowledge and not executing. And, as a result, I was able to create over the next 16 months, because I believe that was about 16 months ago, I was able to create massive systems, massive processes while traveling the planet, and really initiate client acquisition from the front end, and really help people to create retention models so that they can actually help individuals create their message all the way to their market. And for me, that's been the biggest thing, is helping people see that if we can live a life by design, traveling the world, doing what we want, and still building our legacy, not just a business, that is what the true intentional way of living is. And I find that through living that way myself, it's the biggest way of really showing people that it's possible. So being a model of what's possible.
Oh, and you represent that for sure, brother. And I resonate so deeply with what you're sharing, Eric, and I think we do here at Unblinded. The birth of this, the formula, began when, and I don't focus on this as clearly sometimes because there's a lot of pieces to discuss. But in the late 90s, when things were truly accelerating for me, and I was implementing the things that I was learning from Jay Abraham, from Tony, from Jerry Spence, from the gentleman who wrote How to Make a Fortune from Public Speaking, and others. And when these things were beginning to accelerate for me very meaningfully, I remember thinking about two different types of people, or two different categories of people. Folks that I would meet at a personal development event who are like, yeah, I've been here like 72 times. I'm exaggerating, I've been here 21 times. It's amazing. I love it. It's great. Yeah. And I'm like, wow. So where are things? Like, well, I'm still trying to figure it out,
Yeah.
on the one hand. And the second hand, there was so many professionals, attorneys and others that I would meet inside of a courtroom that they would be very unhappy. And they would be sitting there reading the newspaper, back when people read newspapers, and be complaining to each other. And this is in the earliest stages of the cell phone. I had my flip phone out and I'm in the hallway, like peeking my head back in. I'm on phone calls, making things happen, accelerating, ecosystem merging, booking speaking engagements, following up with people. And all these dynamic accelerations are happening. And I'm here 20, 30 years less experienced in the law, but so clear that there's things that these people just have no idea about. They're really smart people, hardworking people, heart-centered, caring humans, and struggling and in so much pain. So I honor, Eric, your confronting of yourself, your listening to what you were taught, what Tony was saying, taking massive action. And one of the things that is most impressive about you to the Unblinded team, as we chat about different people and dynamics, is how on top of things you are, how you move from concept to action, the tightness of your systems and processes around what you're doing, and recognizing yourself as an artist and seeing you go through that freeing of other parts of yourself has been extraordinary. So congratulations. And how does that feel for you to be, obviously we're all, continue to grow and rise in our mastery, but to be just where you are right now from where things were at one point in your life, how does that feel for you, Eric?
So I always thought, thank you, first of all, because I'm very grateful for those words, Sean. For me, I realized that the more that we all become this conscious artist or conscious creator, and I call it into like going from unconscious creator to a conscious integrator. So
Mm.
evolving into this unconscious creator where we're not really seeing, conscious creator where we start having a vision, conscious leader where we're functional in our daily routine, conscious entrepreneur where we're influential, and then finally getting into the integration where we become unstoppable. And I find that that step ladder, you know, is so important for anybody. And as we grow into these initiatives and like really work alongside an amazing team, it's not me. It's about having an amazing co-creator, certain like culture in your business where everybody wants to come and like takes on that vision with you. And I found that because I can empower my team, or because I can empower the people around me, because I can work with other co-creators in the world, you're able to offer more value and help more individuals. And I find that nothing in this world is really possible to do alone. I remember when I thought I was all a solopreneur and I could only do this alone. And it was the initiative of having great conversations, you know, like you say, you know, booking meetings or jumping on calls like this, or having intentional, meaningful conversations with love, and seeing how you can serve with integrity to provide value. And I had another conversation this weekend, and it was all about like I realized the other person, you know, rightfully so, was looking like what was in it for her, what was in it for her, what was in it for her. And it's beautiful to see, but those distinction of like how I could then serve her, and also say, well, what if you start asking, how can I really give and not expect to get, and you might come out on top. She was a new plat member, and it was just, we were just talking, just hanging out, and it was amazing to see the distinction of what Tony's teachings, what being in the circle, what really connecting with yourself, Sean, has really allowed me to see. It's not about what you can get, it's what you can give and expect nothing in return. It really was a huge distinction for me in my my growth as an artist. And I think that there's so many people out there that if they have that key 2 millimeter shift or micro distinction, where it really is about service, it becomes abundant in all areas of life.
Yeah, Eric, I couldn't agree more. And as we drop in, you know, when we created the Real Raw Open, the 10x10s, and we'll drop in that in a moment, you know, people are like, well, but what are you getting from this? And you're winning here. It's like, okay, but what are you receiving, right, from it? Like, and people have such a desire to count and look at what you're receiving versus what they're receiving, and people stay in inaction and default no of like, well, I'm not doing that because that's what you want me to do. Yeah, but it's amazing for you. And so we so often resist. Like when I first joined Platt, people, you know, when it wasn't a financial issue, but people in my team, my family, like, what are you doing? You're giving Tony Robbins how much money? I'm like that's ridiculous. You go there and they just sell you these things. Great. And I received some of that feedback, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what's funny is, and amazing, how many things have I done that I've invested in processes with money, time, and energy, and they've returned so much. And then people go, yeah, but remember this one, remember that one, those didn't work out. I'm like, yeah, that's very true. They don't all work out. But let me ask you a question. With humility, how many people would trade places with where my business life is? I'm not Bill Gates, but I would go with, you know, 99.99% of people, you know, would probably trade places on the globe. So if that's true, then isn't there something to the idea of investing, giving, and even if it's what somebody wants you to do, because you understand that there's such a beautiful, massive value exchange that's going to occur between people. And so often people just sit back, take no action, because they're like, well, that's what they were selling you. Yeah, but it doesn't mean it's not good for you. Because somebody wants you to do something, it doesn't mean that it's not phenomenal for you also. So congratulations, on that, Eric. And how about this?
Absolutely.
You're on the cover of a magazine. Is this true?
Yeah. I was on the cover of Entrepreneur, and before we go there, I just want to touch on this because this was really big for me. And you talked about the investment part, and you know this, but I wanted to share it for anybody that doesn't know. When I invested into Plat, I didn't have the funds. I had enough for the down payments, and I didn't know how I was going to figure it out. But I believed in myself. I believed that it was the biggest breakthrough for me because I believed that I was worth it. And that to me was the biggest opening that I've ever allowed, because now I opened true abundance into my life. I saw what was possible. And it wasn't about the money, it was about the opportunity, about the intention. Am I going to live up to the intention that I set out for myself with great possibility? And am I really going to, execute with the ways that I'm speaking and doing rather than just talking about it? And it was, for me, it was like, let's do this. My heart knew. Scotty put his hand on my heart. He's like, I got you. And honestly, it was the best thing that has ever, it's changed my life. It's changed my life. And it's every time when there's that resistance, that's when you know that you need to do it, because it gives you an opportunity that you don't even know you don't even know.
Absolutely.
So I just wanted to touch on that because it changed my life. It changed my life.
Amen, brother. And so present to that reality, and I will say this final on that point. I'm paying right now Platt-like numbers for my kids to go to college. I love my children. It's wonderful. But like my daughter is going to be studying wildlife ecology. I'm so excited about it. And she'll be taking like history classes, and she's taking a class in dendrology right now, where they literally stand out in the woods and they like name trees. Now, I'm all open to things, but what's incredibly funny to me and interesting is that people will have this like negative prism on investing in your personal and professional.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. We're getting a little bit of feedback from somebody. Into their personal and professional development. And yet they'll have no problem paying for their child to be taking a class in studying like names of trees in the woods, studying like the history of all sorts of ancient civilizations, reading, just books that you could buy off a shelf anywhere, and then, having conversations about them, which will generally have very little application to your life. And all of these things are normal, but doing what you did was not normal to join Platinum. It's just wildly interesting to me. Yes? Yeah. So.
Yes,
I want to
totally
jump.
agree. And I think that's.
I want to jump in real quick. Eric, it's Adam. Of course, I'm watching you, and I'm, just listening. And, your humility is just unbelievable, because even with all of that and all of your acceleration and everything you've been up to, and for you and me, I know, we've been connecting a lot lately, and just to see you to continuously grow and invest in yourself, and like Sean mentioned earlier, what you've done with this upcoming Real Raw, it's just been amazing, and I am so proud of you, and I am just so excited to continue this journey with you. So
I love you guys. You guys are amazing. Love you, Adam.
Yeah. And so real quick, as we take this home, we'll touch on Real Raw and touch on Entrepreneur. So how does that feel? And I like, in all the different ways, what is present for you about Entrepreneur? How'd that happen? And what does it mean to you?
Yeah. So, I got a call one day. It was like in the summertime, and they're like, we're looking at 11 conscious leaders that are really changing the 2020. And my PR lady was like, you should they really want to write about you. And I was like, what? This is unlike, I had no idea, and it was supposed to come out months ago, and I didn't think it was going to happen. The ego was like, this is bullshit. This is bullshit. And all of a sudden, it came out, and she sent me the cover, and I was like dumbfounded. I was so excited, and I didn't even, they talked to me about like legacy, like what's really important for you as a leader, and why do you do what you do? And I really talked about, how we're really, it's not about being better, it's about being different. It's about really being unique in our own presence and sharing our big experiences that have contributed to our why, because business is only a byproduct of creating a massive legacy, and that's the accelerated path. That's the direct path. That Deepak actually talks about in his book Metahuman is the direct path. And Deepak has been a massive mentor and teacher through his books to me, and to be like on the same featured with him has been just really exciting to me. But more importantly, throughout all of this, for me, it was just a way to see how important consciousness really is into the world of entrepreneurship. How when we really connect to our highest sense of self, our heart, our intuition, and really connect it back to our logical mind, that's the space of alignment, of congruency, that's where we get to make powerful, intentional, great decisions. And those are the decisions that will truly shape our life. Those are the decisions that allow us to live on the beach, walk around the world, do things with love and integrity, and be willing to go in there with uncertainty, because we have the intention and the surrender to know, and the trust in ourselves to go out and execute.
Yeah, well, awesome, brother. Love it. Your heart, your presence, your consciousness is clear. Final. You have a real raw coming up and ready to rock and roll. And your intentionality and design around what that looked like and your acceleration, wildly impressive. So what's present for you today as we head into the real raw, the Eric real raw?
Listen, I'm super excited. We've combined the resilient minds, and we've combined, it's like the resilient minds become unblinded type of thing, right? It's so cool, right? Yeah. So I'm really excited. We have some tremendous, amazing guests, and I've got a lot in the bucket for the future that are coming on. But today we have Luke Wren coming on. We got Emily Vavra, who's amazing, and then my good friend Sashin from South Africa. So all are tremendous friends and great guests. And I'm really excited just to open up, the intentionality. They're all excited because they all just trust me, and it really is just about like creating trust. And they're just like, let's do this. And it's like I told them what it's all about. They're like, I don't really know what it's about, but they're excited. And it's so funny when you have that level of intention with somebody, and they know that you're there to like, I told them about, how they can grow, and everybody is, it doesn't matter where we're at. Everybody wants to serve, and they're like, how can I serve? How can I serve? And this comes back to that intentionality, Sean, where I was talking about. It's like, it's not about what you can get, it's about what you can give. And right now, not only we're able to offer them some value, but they're also offering us some value, and it becomes a collaboration and a co-elevation where we co-generate beautiful opportunity, conversation. And now what else is possible, right? As a result of that, we're going to have great footage and great opportunities and great discussions and great new relationships. And I'm just grateful that I can serve and offer value in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, all the way around the circle, right? The power of the real raw is present. This weekend, some things that occurred were mind-blowing, from folks that are involved in some of the biggest platforms in the world saying, I see my future and I'm blinded. This is where I invest my time and energy. That was a call from Saturday morning that I was blown away by. To thank you, Lorelei, very well-known professional athlete, Hall of Famer for his team. Certainly I think should be in the overall NFL Hall of Fame. And he's like, yeah, when you come to Arizona for the Platte trip, I want to pick you up. I want to drive you around Arizona. I want to connect. I want to talk. And this is a person who was in Tony's original infomercials and is like telling stories from the old days with Tony.
Amazing.
And that happens through the Real Raw, and he was on private jets with Tony here or there, and he was at this thing and that thing. And it was just wild, to sit in here. And that's the byproduct of people coming together through the Real Raw, where knowingness is diluted, right? Knowingness is diluted. We want to dilute knowingness. Ego is diluted. Vulnerability is present. So I'm super looking forward to it today. I think you're on Eric team. Eric starts at, is it 2:15? Is that right? Do we know?
2:15, you bet.
Yeah, 2:15 Eastern time today.
Eastern Standard. Yeah.
Eastern Standard. Yep. Anything else that we can? Anything else you'd like to share as we wrap it up for today, Eric?
No, the only thing I want to share is just a massive gratitude to you, Fernando, Adam, Unblinded. You guys are all always been, we've been able to connect really powerfully, and I feel like you guys have become my brothers, all of you, and it's become just really, really incredible just to get to know you guys even more. I know we've known each other before, but like really, I feel like we've become a brotherhood. It's been really, really neat to just get to know you guys really well. So I just want to say thank you. And I think thank you for just, being my big brothers to guide me. So thank you.
Well, thank you, Eric. And I always want to acknowledge Scott Humphrey, Tony Robbins,
Yes.
for their ecosystem creation, because without that, we don't get to meet and have this privilege and opportunity. Absolutely. So love you, brother. Happy Ecosystem Merging Mastery Monday. We'll see